wasit.com.
Okay, this one, I'm just going to do one about recently we've seen a lot of gang violence and knife crime and the chap who got burgled, etc. If you go online, everyone seems to be blaming each other. There seems to be a lot of blame on the police, and believe the mayor was Mayor of London was on about banning knives. There's also a few other things. I also noticed, I think the government's on about bringing in some pathetic law about if you get caught twice with acid, you might go to prison. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's really must scare the hell out of people. Ooh, basically what you're saying there is you can carry acid and you'll be alright for the first time. I mean, that is the most ridiculous thing going. And that's if you ever even get caught with this stuff. So obviously everyone's going to go, well, sod that, might as well risk it once and then worry about it. I won't do it again the second time. I mean, you know, we'd all be robbing banks if you were told you could get away with it first time. Anyway, the police I don't think is actually the answer. I know a lot of people, especially in certain parties, are moaning about increasing police. Well, the problem there is, it's not really the police who would take... Right, sorry. You can have a lot of police, and what can they do? They can maybe stop people, and that's if they catch them with knives or weapons. Once they've been let go, if they haven't got anything on them, that's it. There's not much else the police can do, because they can only get them if they've got some evidence or something. And even if they've been caught with knives, they're just going to get a caution. And remember, a lot of people carry knives anyway who are innocent. A lot of people carry them for work. I know a lot of old people carry them. Many people carry a penknife. It's something people do, and in fact now people don't feel safe because they see what happens. They see how basically they don't feel like the police are going to back them up. So some people are now carrying weapons to protect themselves. And can you blame them? I mean, you know, it's illegal, I'm going to tell you that. But I can't blame anyone for carrying something. Protect yourself. I mean, after all, what's the worst can happen? If you kill them, you kill them. I'd rather kill somebody than, say, get killed myself. You know what I mean? Sod them. You know, that sounds maybe, some people might disagree with that, but I'm sorry, but there's some nut jobs out there who think that, so, you know what I mean, they think they're above the, well, they are, let's face it. I mean, there's a small minority of scumbags out there who can get away with it. They know it. So, of course, I mean, it's not safe. So let's just go through my own answers, because it's alright me moaning and complaining. But there's two basic things that I believe that needs to happen. And the first one, it's the main one, is you increase the sentences for scumbags. At the moment, often if they manage to go to prison, which is pretty rare because they know the system, they get a few months. Most cases don't seem to get very long. And you've got to remember, in the UK we're half the sentence, so if you get 6 months, you do 3 months, if not less. And the other part of that is a lot of things seem to be chopped down. So if somebody's up for manslaughter, that can be slightly reduced down to maybe GBH. You're finding this a lot. So they're not getting... This EPS is pretty pathetic, really. I think that woman left because it was just a waste. It's a disgrace, really. If you ever watch these cases, they just let them they reduce them down in the hope that they'll get an easier conviction. Maybe it's more evidence for a lower sentence. So it's getting ridiculous. Now, that's the main one. Increase the sentence. That scare the pants out of most people. At the moment, there's no fear because you're going to get a month or two for most crimes. Now, I'm going to tell you a little tale. Someone I know has got over 100 convictions. That's over 100 convictions. Been in and out of prison most of his life. Assaulted somebody and by the way, this isn't a friend of mine, he's a scumbag. He's got 6 months because that's the most he could get. And they've had, and obviously he only does 3. And for some very technical reason, we don't know now. I mean, it's bizarre. He's not even doing the 3 months. Having a great time in prison. Comes out. I believe he's already getting offered a nice flat. And he'll get benefits. Most of the benefits, if not every penny, will go, and he will get a lot of money for it, because he has before. Goes on drugs and drinks, which will increase more crime. And I'll repeat that, it goes on drugs and drink. Absolutely disgraceful. Now, if you're some poor person, you're going to be on the waiting list for months, if not years, to get a flat or a house. Yet, you be a scumbag like this, you get it offered. So just, you know, and it is. Always in the fights, always causing trouble. So the dogs are in the background there. But, and this comes on to the second part, to get people into prison, my argument is just to have, and this is part 2, what you should do, is have that American style plea bargaining, where if you arrest somebody, you can plea bargain by giving names and full information about other scumbags. Now, there's 2 things that'll happen. It'll save police millions, because they won't have to investigate as much, because they'll have people grassing each other up left, right and centre. It'll make gangs insecure, because they won't be able to trust each other. At the moment, if a gang member goes to prison, that's it. It's unlikely they'll grass their mates up, because there's nothing to gain. But if they've been told, we'll let you go, or you'll have a smaller sentence, or even give you some money, they'll be petrified. And especially if you start paying people more for evidence. So the reality is, if you've got somebody on a minor crime, say you've caught them with a bit of drugs to sell, and you can then do it, you can get them to grass up other members, and then vice versa. So that, is it vice versa? I don't think that's the correct one. But in return, they'll probably report on others. So you can actually have, maybe arresting one person will give you maybe another 20 people who are probably higher up and more dangerous, because they'll report each other, if you see what I mean. And that would actually squish a lot of this gang culture. Now the third one, which is slightly off, is you legalise drugs, because these gangs are really formed around selling drugs and crime. If you make drugs legal, then they don't make any money. It kills the gangs in some ways. Sorry, the dogs are in the background. I'm trying to keep everything as silent, so it might be picking up the dogs messing about in the background. So I mean, at the moment you've got the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, I think it's pronounced. Seems a decent guy, but they're just coming out with really weak little solutions, and he's saying in a tweet, anyone who no excuses, there is never reason to carry a knife. Anyone who does will be caught and will feel the full force of the law. Well, that's cobblers, because one, there is a reason to carry a knife, it's defend yourself. You know, if you're walking home at night, I think it's safe. I mean, I know it's illegal, but quite honestly, which is better, be defenceless or have a knife and defend yourself? Perhaps it will put the little scumbag off if he pulls out a knife, especially if he knows that if you can defend yourself, you know. Give up messing about in the background there. And the other side is, it's unlikely most people who carry knives will not be caught. Besides that, it's quite easy to hide a weapon on you. I mean, anything can be used as a weapon, anything. You know, it's really difficult. You can basically accuse anyone of carrying a weapon if you wanted. And that's the problem. It gets nonsense. But you see, this is what a lot of politicians do. They go around saying ban this, ban that, and ban the other. And none of these bans ever do any good. It's just patch up. It just looks good in the papers saying we've done some effort. But I think people are now realising it's just a complete waste of time. I'll just see what else. I made a few notes. Oh yeah, and basically the trouble is when you start going down arresting people for carrying knives, what you end up with is all innocent people who are carrying pen knives and whatnot. Now at the moment I think if it doesn't lock and it folds up and it's under 3 inches, it's legal. If it doesn't fold up and it locks and these things, I think that's illegal. But you'll just end up with old people who've always carried a penknife, or people that carry them for work. And by the way, when somebody says that there's no reason, I think people get, in the last few years I've noticed we now have to give valid reasons for doing things, which you shouldn't have to. You should not have to give a valid reason why you're carrying a penknife or whatever. It's none of my business, it's none of your business. You know, if you've got one, you're not going to stab somebody. Well, it doesn't matter. You don't have to. You shouldn't have to stand up in court and say the reason I'm carrying it is because of X, Y, and Z. It's a disgrace. You know, that's police state, communist state, where we're having to ask people what they're thinking, what the motives are. You know, most people aren't criminals. Now, we could all carry knives. Doesn't mean everyone's suddenly going to increase stabbings. It's a nonsense. Now, let me just think. There's also a few other things. Sorry, it's just the dogs are driving me nuts. I should have done this a bit later on when they've been asleep. They're just all playing in the background for play fighting. There's a couple of things, and I think this is also something to think about. I was watching The Right Stuff this week, and on it, they were on about this little scumbag who got stabbed with all his travelling mates. Now, I'm not against travellers. I know that most travellers are probably quite decent, but the trouble is it's these few that let them down, let the rest down. This bunch, they're not travellers. I'm not interested in giving them rights and saying, oh, whatever. They're just a bunch of scumbags. They can call themselves what they want, but the thieves, the whole family has been reported, unless the newspapers reported it wrong. The suggestion is the whole lot, or virtually the most of the family, are thieves, stealing off. And the guy had a weapon, and he went in, and he could have killed this the couple. Now, they were saying that on the Right Stuff, he had a few people defect that they're putting up flowers, which is basically to intimidate the locals. No need for it. Absolutely disgraceful. If they had any pride, they'd be ashamed of the family member who's a scumbag thief. But no, they're trying to make out as a hero, making out as some sort of great dad. If he was a decent dad, he wouldn't be a scumbag thief. He'd look after his family. But no, it's more interesting stealing from old people and whatnot. And I don't know if he's been in prison, but if you had children, you know, you're a scumbag if you steal, because you've got to look after your kids. You should be working and looking after them. But no, you know what I mean. So people are ripping these flowers down, and on the show they was defending, saying, oh, the people should leave the flowers. What about his poor kids? Well, boo-hoo, who gives a rat's ass about his family? I don't. I'm more concerned about the people he's scaring, the locals there. Well, why do we have to keep defending and throwing money at these people? And you know, you'll get people who say, oh, well, we should open up some more charities for them and stuff. You know, endlessly giving them more money. This is all I've ever heard all my life. And guess what? It doesn't improve it. They carry on being scumbags. You give them as much money as you want. Let's stop giving people scumbags money. Let's start giving the people who are decent the money. If you're going to give anyone it. You know, I'm sorry, but it's getting beyond a joke. Well, I'm fuming. I think a lot of people are fuming that we're allowing scumbags to terrorise. I mean, the police were just stood there letting these scum put flowers up. And I'm saying that you're scum because you know, you can go, well, we're travel. You're not travellers, you're just scum. You're thieves. He was a convicted thief, isn't he? You know, once you do that, you're not part of this travelling community. You're just scumbags. You know, you can call yourself that. You might have been from that family, but there's no excuse for that. And you know what you're doing? You're damaging, and this is directly to you if you do listen to this. You're damaging the decent traveller and community. who'll now get grief because people won't want them living near them. You know, when people move in, people being out of fear, and they will demand they get moved on. And hopefully the councils will, because people want to feel safe. And you know, I normally I wouldn't care if travellers move near me. Now I'm thinking, am I going to be killed at night? You know, I don't know if it's this family who'll move in. I don't want you near me. You know, sticking up flags. Fair enough, you might be sad, but don't terrorise, don't be bullying people and trying to... and we've seen the pictures, you're shameful. You're not proud, no one's impressed by some scumbag who steals from old people. You know, and yeah, for those who are defending this scumbag for putting the flowers up, I'll tell you now, I want you to imagine if your grandparents were go to bed that one night and end up being stabbed by one of his travelling, well, I shouldn't say travelling friends, that's wrong, but one of the scumbags, right? Would you be defending them then? No. And that's what it is. This guy should, I mean, we've let him down. I mean, the one thing we have done is this scumbag who got stabbed, we should have put him in prison for 20 years. He'd be alive now, and he wouldn't be terrorising all the old people. But no, we give him soft sentences, and the result is we've let him down because he's been stabbed, he's terrorised other people. But that's it, folks. I'm a bit annoyed, actually. I'm fuming that there's people out there who's actually defending this lot, because it's wrong. People are suffering, and we've got to stop this. We've got to stop throwing money at people who basically aren't giving a damn about society.